So as the video title says, I managed to binge watch the entire Attack on Titan series in 1 week. So going off the last two videos and learning a few lessons along the way, I decided I'm going to break down this video differently to what I've done previously. Instead, I'm going to break down the show from its plot, to its characters, and last but not least, the enjoyability I got off the show. Therefore, it keeps it clean and consistent for both myself and you guys watching at home whilst the world implodes itself due to coronavirus. So without further ado, let's crack on. In a nutshell, the world is set in a middle-aged fantasy where humans somewhat coexist with Titans, however remain in fear behind the walls from them. One fateful day, a special set of Titans breached the walls, creating mass panic and almost an extinction-level threat into the smaller, outer fortified town of Shiganshima. It's during this mass panic, our main character Eren sees his mother eaten alive by a Titan, and from there on, vows along with Mikasa and various other characters to kill all Titans. So I kinda wanted to keep the plot nice and brief, so that it leaves a little more space for I thought of the characters and my enjoyability of the show. Plus, I'm not gonna lie, I think that many of you who already clicked on this video have already seen the show, and you probably just want to see my shitty opinions of the characters and possibly my opinion on the show. But FYI, it's vanilla! What is it? So for this segment of the video, I kind of want to give my opinions of what I thought of the characters throughout the show whilst watching it, so I will insert little major spoilers here just in case for you guys that are maybe watching season 4 and haven't caught up just yet. I'd suggest possibly avoiding this section. I'll put a timestamp in the video just below, so you can skip straight forward to the next section. However, those that have seen up to season 4 so far, I'll sort of give my opinion on what I thought of the characters. Of course, bearing in mind, some did annoy me and rub me off the wrong way, which I'm sure a few of them did for you. So let's get straight into it. So first, I'm going to start with Eren here. Of course, the main character of the show. But where do I start with him? My man went from this to this. No, Being for real now, Eren is perhaps one of my least favourite characters throughout the series for me. It's not because I'm trying to be edgy or break off some sort of a norm about not liking the main character, but simply because of the fact he always felt super whiny throughout season 1, 2 and 3. I understand that he's experienced plenty of trauma, and I'm sure that if some of us were put into a similar position, we may act similar to him, but honestly, it just rubbed me off the wrong way throughout the whole series. His backstory set him up for the first few seasons discovering his Titan powers and how to use them to achieve his goal, revenge. And as much as I understand if you have the power to achieve something, do it, why not use your power to help other people? It honest to God felt painful sometimes with the decisions that Eren made throughout the series. Having a quick browse on Twitter, I saw some people did feel the same about it. However, one tweet in particular did catch me off guard. As much as I hate to say it, I do have to agree. With Eren's whiny and rather annoying personality at the beginning, it's his actions and his decisions which directly influence the direction that all the main protagonists in the series take. In fact, Eren does indeed have some standout moments. For example, when he was protecting Mikasa from the Smiling Titan in a last-ditch attempt to stop her from being eaten. As sure as we are that Mikasa is well more than capable to defend herself and escape the Titan, Eren still jumped in the way to save her. Sure, you could pass him off as a suicidal maniac, that the series refers him to throughout, but it's his passion and carefree attitude when it comes to saving his friends. To me, that is one of his very few likeable traits. Then there's season 4. I mean, here, Eren is a completely brand new character, to be honest, and honestly, I'm all for it. I really don't want to talk too much about this new character outlook just yet, just purely because I'm sort of doing this video while season 4 is being released, so I'll save this for another video for when AoT is actually finally finished. And now we move on to Armin. But he doesn't need an introduction. Roll it. So I didn't really write much for Armin, and in fact I just have no need for introduction, just a drip check. But if I'm going to be completely honest about Armin, to begin with I didn't really have much of an opinion on him actually. It wasn't until, later on in Series 4 that he began to speak of actually having a peace treaty with, the other nations, that really felt like he was the character that maybe all of us kind of resonated with a bit. And if we think about it, if Armin was the one that was given Eren's power, maybe this whole series would have turned out completely differently. Who would have known? Moving on now, we go to Mikasa. Whew, Mikasa. Honestly, she was pretty much the sole reason why I kept watching for Season 1, not going to lie. Yes, possibly a simple alert, however, her along with a few other characters really kept the show grounded for me. It reminded me that the show wasn't all pessimism, and that there was going to be some sort of ray of hope for our cast throughout the show. Bound to Eren, we experience an oddly cherished, seemingly one-sided friendship, as time after time, Mikasa's having to bail out Eren out of a bad situation, and with very little gratitude coming from Eren himself. Although, times throughout the series were desperate, and Mikasa's Titan slaying skills and her bond with Eren really gave a wholesome vibe for me. Jean is oddly the main character we deserved, but did not get. Weirdly enough with Jean, I believe it's him that we see the greatest change in personality and mindset. Starting as the hot-headed, problematic trainee he was, after encountering his first Titan, he had to engage deeply in his own mental struggles. He was one of the very few characters that admitted early on that he wanted to live a very safe life under the banner of the military police, thinking that this would put him head and shoulders above the rest. However, after displaying natural instincts in his first Titan engagement, the Battle of Trost, and comes to the conclusion that there may be some sort of ray of hope, he joined the Scouts in hoping to make a difference. Not only that, despite painting himself as an egocentric person, he never wanted to leave a fellow comrade behind. As we follow him throughout the series, Jean starts to become more and more likeable, and honestly, if he was the MC, I definitely wouldn't have mind personally. Okay, now we move on to the bombshell of the series, Levi. So with Levi, he's definitely my second favourite character. However, it didn't actually start this way. At the very beginning, for me at least, Levi started off as someone who's quite detestable, up of themselves, and almost suffered from little man syndrome. Sorry Levi fans out there, but it's kind of true. However, as we uncover the past, we understand why Levi acts the way he is. He brought up in an underground city, trained to be a thief, and also having his mother die at a young age. Levi seemed to always have nothing for him, except his only connection with Kenny, as fragile as a bond it was. Uncovering his past and seeing him look after Eren and his special operations units, albeit in his own unique way, Levi kind of opens up a little to the audience. His emotional stability isn't all there, but he tries his best to remain composed as he is widely regarded as humanity's strongest soldier. Of course, that title is definitely evident throughout the show. It's the fact that he's developed over the course of Season 1, 2, 3 and 4, coupled with his strength that really makes him a standout character from the rest of the cast. Okay, now moving on to Sasha. My last, but most favourite character of the series. She received a fair amount of development, despite being a more sideline supportive character of the group, and from Season 1 she seemed entirely hell-bent on securing as much food as possible, whether it be from the warden's office, or stuffing potatoes in her mouth mid-inspection. To me, she seemed oddly relatable out of the bunch. As much as it wasn't directly referenced throughout, she was terrified of engaging in any sort of combat. It seemed as if she was forced to be there. She was still in the mindset that she should fight for herself, hence why she gives the smallest amount of potato possible to the warden officer when she's caught. It was after graduating 9th best in the 104th Training Corps and coming into contact with Eren and his desire to kill all the Titans did it put Sasha in a position to better herself, or a better way to put it would be to enter character development. Throughout her various encounters with Titans and her other fellow Scout members, did their attitudes slowly change. In my opinion, the most noticeable yet heartwarming change to Sasha's character was during the Clash of the Titans arc, where Sasha's very own village of Dorpa is under attack from the threat of Titans. Making the brave yet painful decision to leave the daughter's mother behind and taking the daughter, did the Titan finally start making any sort of aggression onto Sasha and co. Both their flight instincts take over, leading them to run to the horse Sasha arrived on. But given the situation of possibly impending doom, the horse remains restless and eventually escapes Sasha's clutches, leaving them stranded deep in Titan territory. With panic ensuing over her, Sasha and her young daughter run as far as they can, but soon come to the realization this won't work forever. Screaming as the young child run as much as he can towards human territory, Sasha stands her ground defiantly, ignoring her overwhelming emotions of fear, and fends off the Titan using a bow, an arrow that she grabbed earlier. Sasha scores a direct hit in the Titan's eye with her third arrow. She throws her bow away, taking her last arrow and stabbing it directly in the Titan's other eye. The Titan attempts to grab her, but Sasha manages to escape its grip. She searches for the girl and eventually finds her with a group led by her own father. It was this specific segment for me that really made me think that Sasha has developed further as a character. And it's actually after this moment in time as well that Sasha became more brave of herself, more confident, and it was shown throughout the rest of the series. And in fact, this is probably one of the biggest reasons as to why Sasha was my favourite character. She got the development she deserved, and she probably became one of my favourite girls throughout the series. Okay, come to the end of my little character segment where I talk about my opinion on them. I know there are so many more characters in this show, such as Reiner, Bertolt, and Erwin, the absolute hype man himself. However, it was these characters in particular that really meant something to me, or that created some sort of connection with as the series went on. I'm sure that many of you have a connection with the other characters that I didn't mention, so feel free to let me know in the comments which is your favourite in the series and why. I've talked about the characters as to why they mean what they mean to me, but I still haven't offered my opinion of the show. In fact, I've been saving it on purpose to last for me. It's how the anime has really fleshed out each member of the cast to build up the plot of the anime that really made an impact to me. It really felt like each of the characters that was written in or out of the show really created their own impact given the screen time they had. And with the consistent cast of Eren, Mikasa and Armin, we as viewers see them grow into the people that they are in Season 4. Each of them breaking out of their own shells that we may have associated with them in Season 1, becoming an almost grown and refreshing new character. But they all have a feeling of similarity, reminiscent to the very beginning when their hometown of Shiganshima fell. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, this is most evident with Eren with his current behaviour in the ongoing season. But with all that being said though, let's dive into what I thought about the show. So I started watching the very first season just over a week ago now, and with it still fresh in my head, I thought I might as well release this video. I'll come clean and admit it here, that I was one of the very few skeptics for Attack on Titan. I thought it was just another overhyped anime that a lot of Western audiences just hyped up on Twitter and every single possible forum. But now, I can see where they're all coming from. I was quite adamant about the plot, if I'm being completely honest. I'm a slice of life anime kind of guy, so something like Attack on Titan is completely different from my own norm. I think before I went into the show, I deliberately lowered my expectations, as I didn't want to ruin the show by overhyping it myself. There's been way too many times I've gone into a show too high in expectation. However, I can safely say here, you can definitely keep your hype on going into Attack on Titan. Giving the seasons a quick overview and reflecting back on what I watched, Season 1 was for sure the season that roped me in. New, fresh, and packed plentiful action scenes to keep you gripped. But that being said, I must say Season 2 did take a slight decline for me, and the show didn't really pick up later until the latter half of Season 3 Part 2. I completely get that most of Season 2 and Season 3 was used for world building, all in preparation for the final season. I think it's because I knew this, I was beginning to overlook it. Sure, no anime can keep being amazing all the way through, and to be honest with you, Attack on Titan didn't really have any filler, and for that, I can definitely applaud it. I think what I really mean here is that the show slowed down in order to make sure that all the content necessary was put in place for the final stage. I mean, it was clearly doing something, right? I wouldn't have gotten all the attention it has now. Looking deep into the anime as viewers, we discover the hardships that many of the people who live inside the walls go through, and in fact to us, it seems quite backwards. They still fight with swords and horseback, and we are tricked into thinking that the setting's almost reminiscent of some sort of medieval isekai. But if you've watched up until Season 4, you know that isn't the case. Furthermore, one thing that Season 1 really burned into my head as a viewer, is that the plot really hits the idea that there's always a bigger fish. Humans are so used to being on top of the chain, but with the introduction of Titans who feed on humans no less, make humans live in constant fear, contrasting to the world we really live in. When Eren and his regiment first encounter a Titan later on in the season, in the attack on Trost, many of the cadets tremble in fear, with countless 5 years of training they go through. Seeing this fear on display from pretty much the whole cast, including Eren for a short time, really did paint the picture of a dark, twisted world that we are put into. But it's this setting and atmosphere, the slim possibility of a comeback for humanity, that keeps us glued to our screens. Humans have always been scared about their own figment of imagination, and in this show, the humans' creation of the Titans led to their own downfall, and rightfully so that they remain in fear. Lastly, I believe Attack on Titan's plot is simply unique and downright marketable. It's safe to say that this anime is popular worldwide, and heck, I even saw an article on Attack on Titan that was one of the most sought after animes in North America. Might have to check for the UK at some point. It pushes a narrative that Titans are a burden of man, and that need to be removed. However, with more story development, the plot thickens, giving us viewers more to engage and look forward to. What seems to be a narrow-minded world of simply killing Titans, to uncovering that there's almost a whole world out there that utilises Titans and other various machinery to their own benefits, clearly screams a well thought out plot. I mean, even the mangaka for Attack on Titan got an interview with the BBC News, which is just truly showing just how global this anime has become. If I was to give this show an official Nylok certified rating, I'd say I'd have to give it a solid 8.5 out of 10 for me. I know I've just spent the last however many minutes talking about breaking down the characters and the show, but many of you are probably thinking it should be a 10, but as I mentioned earlier, I do think this show does suffer from pacing a little bit. No doubt about it though, that this show is amazing, and I think we should all be glad that we could witness this show air live to all of us. So wrapping this video to a close, I just want to say a special thank you to everyone who's been watching my videos for the past month. We've almost hit 100 views on my ReZero video, and it almost got 65 views on its first day of release. So with that being said guys, can we please make the push to 100 views this video within a week, and maybe aim for the 50 subscriber mark? I hope this format works well with you guys, and if it does, please let me know in the comments down below. I might return back to my old format for a few videos again and see how I roll with that, as I've got quite a few ideas in mind. But again, let's just hope you doesn't start getting involved with more work. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, and if you're new around here and haven't heard my voice before, subscribe. Click that notification bell so you don't miss my next video, and with that being said, I hope you all have a nice day, and peace.